not to be at the forefront of this expedition, let's put it this way. Mm-hmm. In fact, the whole thing is subcontracted to basically France and Turkey. So what we have in this place is Iskenderun. It's very, very important from now on. We have French intelligence people. We have the British MI6. We have Saudis, Qataris, and people from the Emirates as well. We have engineers and naval officers, very qualified people. So they are trying to organize near the border a sort of northern insurrection in Libya. Oh, I'm sorry, in Syria. I say Libya because Libya is on my mind because it's basically the same thing, now remixed, right?
Absolutely.
So now the scenario is, okay, we try to launch an insurrection north in Syria, in the big cities, in the small cities, I'm sorry, of course, like Homs, but especially trying to get the big prize, which is Aleppo. Mm-hmm. If Aleppo would fall to the insurgents, let's put it this way, which is a mix of defectors from the Syrian army and these foreign mercenaries. For the moment, there are not many people. I'm in contact with a guy in Homs. He's a very good informant, for what's going on the ground. And he's telling me, look, we haven't seen these people here. And the support for the Free Syrian Army in this area, at least, is mixed. A lot of people view them as criminals, pure and simple. There are a lot of gangs in the area. People report they are being harassed, cars stolen, that kind of stuff. Petty crime, basically. And not many people are talking about serious, let's say, guerrilla bands attacking the Syrian army. And another point that it's important, there has not been a mass defection from the Syrian intelligence system, the military, or the police, at least so far. This tells us that the support for the regime is still very solid among the people that are ruling Syria, and including the trading classes, the bazaris, let's put it this way. They are very important in Damascus and in Aleppo, both big cities, and they're still more or less siding with the regime, including the Sunnis, because they don't know what could happen next. If there is a civil war, who's going to rule the country afterward? Nobody trusts this Syrian National Council that was established in Paris and in Turkey a little bit. In fact, there is an interview at the Wall Street Journal today of the president of this council, and it's ridiculous. He's like he was briefed at Washington or at Tel Aviv. He's emitting all the right signals, but you cannot trust these people. And the Syrians themselves, they're saying, we don't trust these people. Most of them are exiles. They're not people who lived here and understand the regime and understand what we need in terms of more political participation and all that. They're a bunch of opportunists, just like the opportunists in Libya, hasn't changed much. So we have to look, over the past few weeks at least, we have to be careful looking at, is there going to be a destabilization of northern Syria? If that happens, maybe we are on our way to destabilization of the whole country, but basically fueled by foreign troops, by mercenaries, and the power that is coordinating all this is Turkey, which brings us to, let me just finish with this because nobody knows the answer to this question. What do the Turks imagine they will accomplish by destabilizing one of their neighbors, considering that their official foreign policy basically, it's called zero problems with our neighbors.
Right.
So still nobody knows what is the Turk game. I've been trying to get it from people that I know in Turkey. They don't know. People in Brussels say, look, I think maybe there is some kind of deal, but we don't know the terms of this, a backroom deal that would obviously involve the U.S. But we don't have elements, and it's pure speculation, of course. What we do know is the very convergence of interest between the Turks and the GCC, the Gulf Cooperation Council, right. Means Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and all the other Persian Gulf monarchies. They want to get rid of the Assad regime because it's an Arab secular republic. They want something closer to the Muslim Brotherhood in power. And this is true. If the Assad regime falls, guess who's going to inherit Syria? the Muslim Brotherhood, just like they are inheriting Egypt. We saw these first initial results at the Egyptian election. Who's ahead? The Muslim Brotherhood over 40%, and an Islamist Salafi party with almost 25%. And these people in Syria, they are also popular, especially in the poorer areas in the countryside and in some of these places where the protests started, including the small towns in the border, the Jordanian-Syrian border, and in homes as well. So, look, the scenario ahead, if there is really a destabilization of the regime, is horrendous. Nothing good will come out of it. I don't see anything good coming out of it. Certainly not democracy.
Yes, sir. Is there anything else you'd like to add that we should keep an eye on, or are these pretty much the main proxies at the moment?
Yes, I suggest everybody keep an eye on this Syrian National Council, what they're saying. If they're going to visit, Washington, especially, they're more or less based in Paris and Turkey. Mm-hmm. Keep an eye on what the Turks are saying out loud, because few days ago, 3 days ago, they slapped sanctions on Syria, and the sanctions are exactly the same package as the Arab League sanctions. And also, let's keep an eye on. I would say there's a sort of window of opportunity for something drastic to happen in the next few weeks before, the campaign in the U.S., the presidential campaign in the U.S. starts in Iowa and then in New Hampshire. So things could happen between Christmas and New Year that we don't know about, of course.
Yeah. Well, we'll keep watching, and we appreciate you joining us, of course.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thanks very much.
And that's it tonight for the Infowars Nightly News. Of course, a lot of news to keep an eye on and continue observing. We'll be back next week. Stay tuned.